Hello, welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Well, we got a pair of lawsuits to talk about right off the bat on the old show. One involving young Star Trek star Anton Yelchin. You may remember a couple of years ago, Mr. Yelchin arrived back at his home where he parked his Jeep Grand Cherokee, where he thought he had the vehicle in park, but it was not. When Mr. Yelchin went to retrieve the mail, the vehicle then backed into him and impacted him, thus succumbing to the injuries where he later passed away. Well, Mr. Yelchin's family has had a wrongful death lawsuit against Fiat Chrysler Automobiles over the past couple of 3 years. Well, that particular lawsuit now has settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. Not sure if we'll ever hear just exactly how much the Yelchin family got for this tragic incident. I will say, too, that I did have a little run-in with the Grand Cherokee that I was working on. And boy, if you have the door even slightly ajar, the vehicle will do nothing but go instantly into park. Any sort of gear that you put it in, it instantly throws it into park, which was really throwing me off till the owner of the vehicle actually told me about this, and then I remembered this particular incident. So, sad situation, but at least there is some moving on in this deal. There's another lawsuit to talk about, that involving NASCAR star Tony Stewart. You may remember several years ago, Mr. Stewart was in a sprint car race in New York State where he actually got into it, at least altercation-wise, in their automobiles with young Kevin Ward. Mr. Ward's car was disabled, and he was very upset with the NASCAR star and stormed out of his car to confront Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stewart then, in passing by young Kevin Ward, impacted him, and Mr. Ward succumbed to his injuries on that particular evening. Now, there was a criminal lawsuit where Tony Stewart was basically resolved of any wrongdoing in this particular deal, but there was a wrongful death civil lawsuit that's been going on over the past several years, which just a couple of days ago actually was settled out of court, and they didn't actually go into the court case. Now, there is still a court date coming up April 12th of 2018 where it may be disclosed just exactly what that particular payout was for young Kevin Ward's family. So we may hear more about this in the next couple of weeks. Next up on the list, Bugatti's in the news, and for a story it's not very good because they've got a brand new big gun boss inside of the company. It's the late Lamborghini head boss, Stefan Winkelmann. Mr. Winkelmann then had a little sit down with the folks over at CNBC where he let loose that now and moving forward, Bugatti is no longer in the top speed runs that they've done over the past several years. They are no longer interested in top speed. Now, I have to say this is very sad. This is a situation that you always look to Bugatti for actually being the cutting edge for top speeds with the Veyron and now with the brand new Chiron. And the real sad part is the sheer fact that the tire technology never caught up to this particular automobile to actually get to see what its real deal top speed was going to be. Every top speed run this vehicle had was electronically limited. Now apparently Stefan Winkelmann is going to shut that down altogether. The last boss of Bugatti was a guy that I really liked because he said that at any time, shape, or form that any other manufacturer brings out an automobile that beats this car in top speed wise, that Bugatti would get back to work and bring out a Chiron or whatever else they had at that particular point, try to take back that record. And apparently that record may never be beaten again. We'll have to wait and see on those fronts. Next up on the list, here's an aerial photograph of the Dunsfold Aerodrome. Now, a lot of you may instantly know exactly what this particular piece of property actually is. Some of you may not, and we're going to be focusing on a small little section of Dunsfold, and it's this particular section in the upper corner. This is actually the home of Top Gear. Yes, some of the hangars that they actually filmed some of the show in, and the famed test track, the home of the Stig, is now in jeopardy. Now, we may have talked about this back in 2016, where there was a group that was getting ready to basically doze this entire property and build a brand new housing community over the top of it. Now, basically, that particular story has kind of gone dead for the past couple of years, but the folks over at Jalopnik are reporting that this particular group that owns this property has got official okay from the government, and they are allowed to move forward with their plans to basically demolish the old Dunsfold Aerodrome and build a brand new housing community over top of it. Even though that particular group has yet to make an official announcement on just when this could take place. So there may be somewhat of a stay of execution, at least for the Top Gear group, moving forward, at least maybe for a year or so, but it looks like that the famed track with its famous corners and whatnot that we all know of, not to mention that famous facility where they did all the filming for the past, almost 20 years, apparently will go away. So we'll definitely keep you in tune if we hear any more about this. And last up on the list, probably the weirdest story in this particular goings-on, and it involves around the North American International Auto Show, aka the Detroit Auto Show. The Detroit Auto Show has been losing favor with a lot of manufacturers over the past several years, and we've heard a lot of high-end manufacturers who are now reporting that they will no longer return to the Detroit Auto Show. There's also been growing groundswell to actually move the auto show to a more favorable time of year, because you think about it, January in Detroit, it's always butt cold, and there's usually a lot of inclement weather going on at that particular situation. Not to mention the fact that this show has been losing its luster a tad bit thanks to a lot of other auto shows. The LA Auto Show, the New York Auto Show, even the Chicago Auto Show getting as much, maybe a little bit more press than the poor old Detroit Auto Show. Another situation, too, is CES, the show out in Las Vegas, the Consumer Electronics Show, which now has become a bigger automotive playground now to the all-new technologies that we see in automotive tech, meaning the Detroit Auto Show basically is taking a back seat. There is reports out there that the Detroit Auto Show will be moving to October in 2019, which sounds pretty good, other than there are other reports, too, that they're going to continue to do the Detroit Auto Show in January and do another one in October, which makes absolutely no sense, at least to me. So we'll have to wait and see on this particular deal, because nothing's been made official as of yet, so we'll definitely keep you in tune of what we hear. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiast. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. The link's down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.